Do you want to improve on AD carry, but you're stuck and don't know how? Don't worry, I gotcha. Hey guys, I'm Neon. I've been playing League of Legends professionally for 7 years now, most known for playing in the LEC for teams such as Vitality, Misfits, Schalke 04. I've also been rank 1 twice and have been challenger every year since. I made this video because I remembered when I was starting out how there wasn't a lot of educational content from pro players that was free and wasn't hidden behind a paywall. And I feel like I've gathered enough experience to be able to share it and teach it in a very easily digestible manner. So this video is mostly aimed at botlane players looking to level up their play to the next level. I promise that by the time you reach the end of this video, you will have a blueprint of what you need to do to get to your desired rank. The first thing I want to touch on is mentality, as I now believe good mental is the most important skill in League of Legends, both for your well-being and elo. Trust me when I say this. 99% of times when people use chat, it is to reflect on things that have already happened and vent their feelings, most of the times by flaming. For this reason I recommend playing with chat off or getting into the habit of instantly muting someone when they project any negativity, because we don't want them to impact our mental state. Change your expectations. Don't expect your teammates to play well. Bard Q? Question mark? Broken Blade, an ex-teammate of mine once told me, tilt happens when expectations don't meet reality. And it couldn't have been more true. People in League, sadly, usually expect to win if they play good, which makes sense. But we know this is not always the case in League of Legends. This is why we need to shift from trying to win the game to, did I play good this game? Or did I play better than my counterpart? Let's say there's 9 monkeys in the lobby and you are the only good player. Your team can only get 4 monkeys and a human, and enemy team will always have 5 monkeys. So they have a higher chance, they have a higher collective chance of an individual monkey solo losing the game. This is why, on a scale big enough, players usually end up in the elo they belong in. Alright guys, so first of all, you're gonna need a good PC. And by that I mean probably a really good CPU, because League of Legends is a CPU heavy game to have stable 144 FPS at least. And obviously a monitor that supports that refresh rate. This is because, especially for an ADC, the role is very much about having fast reactions, precise clicks, and mechanics. The way the role is designed is that unless you're playing extremely well, you will not have impact on the game. And to play extremely well, I think you need your game to run very well first. Secondly, I also advise you to up your DPI. Personally, I started playing on 800 and went all the way up to 1800 because I just realized that there's no, my hand just couldn't move that fast to do all the clicks that I needed to do. It'll feel a bit weird, but you'll get used to it in a week. For comparison, in CSGO, most players are around 800 to 1000 DPI, and this is because they only need to, you only need to kind of just get a precise click on the head, and you're already kind of pre-aiming when the enemy could be. But in League, you need to E here, E backwards, dodge a hook, and your mouse just has to be moving across the, the entire screen, or move your map, so we want to have fast DPI for that reason. All right, for some key bindings. So first of all, I recommend playing with everything on quick cast, and the most important keybind here for AD carry will be your player attack move click. I prefer this one. The first one, player attack move click. What this does is you see my cursor, right? My cursor is here, and now I press A, it casts an auto attack. Same on minions, A auto attack, So that's what A does. Personally, I mean, you can go ahead with any of the 3, but I like this one the most. I will explain why in a second. So this one I think is really good because when you have high attack speed, you only need to do click. The other ones are, for example, this one, you need to do, sorry, this one is, you need to confirm your A click, so that's 2 inputs instead of 1. So when you have high attack speed, that's just not going to be possible to do. So that's why I prefer to have this one. Also, one really important thing to do is have in game, you go to gameplay and you disable your auto attack, you enable attack move on a cursor, and what this does is, see how this, so right now I'm gonna aim on this behind, I'm on this thingy. Fuck, I forgot what it's called, doesn't matter. I'll aim on it and misclick, and I hit this one. Even though I misclick this one just by a little bit, right? Because this is the first thing, this is the closest thing to me. By enabling attack move on a cursor, your game will attack whatever is the closest to your cursor. And what this means is that when you are fighting and you happen to misclick the enemy champion just by a little bit, you will still hit them. So that's pretty good, right? Not many people know about this. Heavily recommend it. Alright, so one thing that I see a lot of people do is play with treat target champions only as a toggle or target champions only, right? And what this does is, right now I toggle it, and can you please go into the wave? Hello, go into the wave. It's super easy to click on the enemy champion wave because I cannot select the minions, right? I cannot select or click on the minions, so I can only hit the enemy champion. And while this does seem very convenient at first, I actually don't recommend playing with it because you will eventually just lose your precision, and then you will start misclicking in team fights, you know? And yeah, I just don't recommend playing with it because you will just get lazy. So I just recommend being precise on your clicks and not playing with this option. For gameplay, the most single important thing for an AD carry is consistency. And I'm gonna show you the tools and ways which I used and developed to reach a consistent level of play, or somewhat consistent. And I'm gonna show you a bunch of good habits that if you implement, I promise that you will see yourself improving. So first of all, remove all distractions, no music, no alt tabbing, no TikTok brain rot during game unless your house is on fire or something. And always, I cannot stress this enough, always have an objective in your head that you are playing for. There should always be something in your head that you are consciously playing for. And this doesn't mean, oh Drake, oh tower, oh Nash. This is like little things like, how am I gonna play level 1? How am I gonna deny this cannon? Invading enemy jungle, tower diving. Even CSing is like a mini objective, like I'm gonna last this minion. Like you always wanna have your focus on something. At least that's how I play. And that's how I play well. If I have that one thing in my mind that I'm consciously focusing on achieving at every given moment of the game. Another habit that I found very useful for me as I was learning League of Legends was to record my games. And I think for AD carry, it's very good to look at your own deaths and try and figure out why it is that I died. Look at the map state, look at my teammates, look at enemies' items, look at enemies' positions, and think to yourself, try and critically think, what is the mistake that caused me to die here, you know? Like, that's how you can see it. Because when you're playing AD carry, like, dying, especially getting caught or dying on mid waves, is always, always, always going to be bad. Visualization. This is a tool that all pro players use extensively. Faker once said in an interview, like 7 years ago or something, that 80% of his daily thoughts are League of Legends. What this means is that when he's taking a dump or he's eating, he's thinking about matchups, he's thinking about champions, he's thinking about items, he's always trying to visualize what would happen if. So you obviously don't need to go to such extremes, but what I wanted to highlight is that League of Legends is essentially a game where you are trying to predict what should happen or what will happen in a given scenario. And that's why you want to know the strong points of every champion and their weaknesses in your head. And as soon as you lock in a champion and you see your matchup, you should be able to visualize how your early lane goes, how, you know, the team fights look in this case, and just overall what that means for the game. I will give you an example in the following clip. So I'm playing Aphelios Bard into Ashe Nautilus, right? And my champion, I know that Aphelios level 1 is extremely weak, Ashe level 1 is extremely strong, Nautilus level 1, he can initiate the fight, Bard level 1, pretty dog, right? Compared, like, if his AD carry is way weaker, which is Aphelios versus Ashe. And they also have a Summoner Spell advantage. I have Cleanse that is useless in a fight, and they have Barrier. And they also have Lethal Tempo that's stronger in an all-in than PTA that I have, right? So this screams that level 1 fight, we hard lose. So I already, going into this lane matchup, I already know that I can't fight whatsoever. So I will show you what I will do right now, right? Walking up with the wave. Right now, if I didn't see the enemy bot lane spot themselves on the wave here, what I would do is I would drop a ward here, and I would do it while being covered by my minions, because oh, what the fuck, okay, doesn't matter, because now we have the coverage of minions here. Nautilus hook can't go through, so we will ward here. If they're in the bush, we can trade some autos and Nautilus can't hook us, and then we walk back, right? But in general, look at how I play this. I'm not hitting the wave for no reason. If I hit the wave, it's for a reason. But right now, I'm trying to posture myself a little bit up, because this Nautilus is not pressuring me from this bush yet. If Nautilus was here, I would not be here. As you can see, I'm walking up a bit to maybe signal to the enemy AD carry that I want to push or something. And every hit that the enemy AD carry does on the wave right now is actually not that good for them, because it's making the wave push faster to us. And if the wave is in the middle, they can always look to all-in as level 1, right? So look at how I walk up, hit maybe a little bit. I can hit a little bit because I see that he is pushing very hard. If he wasn't pushing at all, I would not be hitting the wave either. But I still keep in mind that I know no matter what, I can't get hooked. And no matter what, I don't want to take a fight here. So I'm gonna see if I can grab this minion. I can grab it nice. See how the second Nautilus pressures me from the bush, I'm pooping my pants and running to Africa. Alright, so here here's another concept that I will discuss later in the video, which is like the concept of lines and why this hook on my support here doesn't really matter too much, but I will touch that. I will touch on that later. Why winning matchup matters. This is because if you are winning your lane, generally this means you have push. Although there are some lanes that are winning but lose push on the first waves, first 2-3 waves. For example, Samira, Leona, you know, they are pretty useless level 1, but level 3 they can all in and win a lot of lanes. So when you are winning your lane, you are the one who decides what you do. Be that invading, doing a Drake, freezing a wave, anything really. The losing side just has to react to that. As you can see on the picture on your screen right now, the games where I individually have a 2-kill lead in 10 minutes this season has me winning 80% of my games, compared to the average of 60% of a Grandmaster player. This is because it's much easier to, in general, to carry if you are ahead. And that's what I will look to show you in this guide, how I accomplished to do that and how you can too. Why level 2 is OP. How you play the first 2 waves on bot lane is extremely crucial in how the rest of the game goes for you. Because usually, whichever side gets level 2 first starts winning the early game and can snowball that into a very big advantage down the line. That's why I will put great emphasis on how I play the first 2 waves in most cases and provide some examples. So another thing that I want to talk about is level 1 invading or getting invaded. I actually am of the belief that you don't want to be invading level 1, because I think in most of your games that you play, the game will start with 0-0 scoreline, everyone going to their own lanes, and everyone starting in their lane on time. And this is the scenario that I always visualize in my head. So while yes, invading can potentially give you an unfair advantage if you kill someone, you know, it can kind of mess up the game, and it will make the game like troll-ish and like more chaotic. And I don't think that's a good way for me to improve, because I want to have the game as predictable as possible for myself. So for that reason, in solo queue, unless my whole team is invading and they force me to go, I will not go. And every single time the enemy has invade champions, I will just do the following. Like, see, this game they have Ivor Nautilus, and I know they are elo hungry, so I will pink every entrance, because I also don't want my teammates to die for free. And look how I will stand. Most players nowadays, or in general, will stand here, and this is where you can easily die. If against the hook champ, you don't stand here. You stand here where I do. One thing, some players will be like, oh, but what if they go through here after Tribush? No one. I have not seen this done one single time in my entire life in solo queue. If enemy invades you through Tribush, they always go through here. Always. Always, always, always. You know? And why it's nice to sit here like I do is because you actually do not risk even blowing your flash when you spot them, because you can instantly hide behind the wall. Like, you see how fast, you see how fast this Nautilus even appeared on my vision and instantly hooked me? I still can't lose a summoner spell. You know? Like, that's actually kind of like, he just spawned there, you know what I mean? But I still am able to just do this and get out, and we don't lose anything, and I actually get mana flow. So, mana flow, oh, it's okay, no mana flow. The first strike proc. Let's actually start with the example of when level 1, you are losing. How do I know that I'm losing this matchup? Aphelios Zillion versus Ash Lulu. Well, it's from experience and visualization, right? So I know we are much weaker. So in the case of me being much weaker, there's only one thing to do. And that thing is to cover, see if they invade your jungle level 1. And that's what we're doing. And the other thing is that we're just going to have to be fine with giving push and focusing on hitting minions and like losing as gracefully as possible, right? As I said, if you are losing, there's not many options that you have. All right, another example. This time we're playing Corki, Vel'Koz into Ash Nautilus. Again, they have a very strong level 1. They have a lot of kill pressure with hook. So how am I going to play this? Because so far I've only been showing how I was fisting the enemy with stronger matchups. So now it's time to see how I will get fisted or won't. Let's see. So again, as you can see, since we're losing level 1, I was just covering super defensively because I don't want to already in a losing matchup lose a flash or get chanked. I don't want anything bad to happen to me. So we did a good job covering. Now, I ping my support where they could be. I tell him, we give push, because sometimes you just have to give push, which is like this case, right? Which essentially means do not contest, play safe, play defensively. I am walking with the wave because I'm afraid Nautilus could be here. And what right now is crucial for us to do is we actually have to take a fight if they're both here and they have sweeper. Because what you don't want to happen is that you ward this lane, they are here, they sweep the ward, and then what? You are zoned, you know? So what is crucial here is you actually take a fight, small fight with your minions in this minion wave. So that is the plan. Let's see what ends up happening. See actually how I also pinked here, because I'm also thinking they could try and cheese us from behind. Not many people do this because not many people have an 80% of winning games when they're ahead, and they're not as good as I am at getting ahead. But, you know, as you can see, they are in here. I will walk up. I will place the ward. And now I want to take a fight, because right now the advantage in this fight that we have is these minions, you know? And if they fight us right now, what this actually accomplishes us, is we can maybe even kill them, even in a weaker matchup, just because of the minion advantage. And if it's just a short trade, these minions will aggro onto the enemy, which means they will not aggro onto the wave, which also means this will push faster to me. And why this pushing faster to me is good, because the closer the enemy wave is to my tower, the happier we are, because we can always get all-in, right? So let's see how this play goes. They decide to hit the ward because they know that they don't want us to have this bush warded. So they're like, oh, the ward is there, we need to attack it. But if I see them attacking the ward, what that tells me is I will attack you because you're attacking my ward. So at this point, I already got 2 autos and a Q on Ash. She got 0 autos because she went for the ward. And that's a good trade. And she hit my wave. And my wave is not hitting the enemy wave, right? Now I get hooked. And if you get hooked in normal conditions in this matchup, you will lose. You will lose the game, you will lose your lane. But since I have conditions that were favorable for me, this is actually good for me. Cleanse the Ignite. Keep hitting Ash. Vel'Koz is helping me. Now I'm hitting the closest target to me because Ash can no longer join the fight. She's too low. Nautilus flashes out. My guy gets hooked. So what it is right now, we back off. We used our spells, we missed them, we have nothing else. We back off. I ping him to back off, but he went a bit too far. So my support trolls me here. But we already had a wave state where we got a big advantage in a very, very hard losing lane level 1, simply because I played the best way I could. And I knew, I already had the vision in my mind how the level 1 could go, because I had visualized it before. Let's see how this turns out. My Vel'Koz dies. I'm trying to not walk up to Nautilus because they can always turn on me if he just autos me to root me, right? But here I also know they use a lot, so I can be a bit cocky. See, got the double hit. I also know that I have a cookie, and I'm going to try to not let them push out this wave. I end up having to waste my flash, but my goal here is to not give them a free push out, because I still have resources to fight. That's my goal. So yeah, I lost my flash, but they weren't pushing the wave this whole time. Now my Vel'Koz is back, my Viego is coming, and they have no summoners. Or I think the Ashe at least use one of her sums, so I don't want them to get this push out. Okay, Nautilus uses hook, W forward, and I get a kill. So yeah, in this sequence, I just wanted to highlight how, like, even in a losing matchup, you can still play very well reactively and essentially know how you want to defend yourself. Let's now look at what we can do when we have a hard winning level 1, which we do have this game. Keep in mind, I said no level 1 invades. However, this is not a level 1 invade. I'm not running top lane to cheese a kill. This is a guaranteed outcome that I will have in my lane, assuming that I know the strengths of my champions, and that is being much stronger. So, yeah. So we're playing Ashe Karma into Bard Ezreal, right? And we are getting level 1 position. If you're playing champions, if you're playing ranged champions, or if you're winning level 1 in general, getting level 1 position in lane is super crucial, because this is actually what puts you in a favorable position to A, get a good trade, B, be in a good position to manipulate the wave how you want, and C, get level 2 first, you know? So we are much stronger here. My Tryndamere in the jungle, doesn't matter. This is what we would do. See, we try and throw our spells, see if it lands on anyone, because usually there is one guy covering, which is really troll, because right now you're either losing your flash or you're dead, right? You might be concerned that the whole enemy team 5 people are there. This is why you can go a bit later, like 50 seconds. Usually that never happens. And if you are afraid of that happening, you could ward right now. And if you spot 5 people there, well, they're all chunked because of your spells. And you just run back and their level 1s are fucked everywhere. So, okay. No one is found here. That's fine. Another thing that you can do, oh well, a continuation of what you could do now is, since I'm playing Ashe Karma against Ezreal Bard, and our level 1 is much, much, much stronger because we have Summoner Spell advantage, they have Cleanse, that doesn't do anything level 1, and we have one extra Summoner Spell. We are stronger, we have Lethal Tempo, he is Conqueror. In this case of being this much stronger, what you can do is wait in this bush, or if you are blue side, wait in this bush, and you wait for them to approach the minions, and then you come from behind and you all in them. In this case, what ends up happening is, for some reason, the enemy bot lane decides to face check this bush right now. Loses a flash. See, that's already a win. This is the same thing with Tryndamere being here, doesn't play a part. Whether he was here or not, same thing would have happened. We would storm them. So I didn't call him. He just wanted to be here really badly, so he was. I'm still gonna stand here because, you know, maybe they still woke up to the wave. Which doesn't happen in this case. And the reason why they don't woke up to the wave is because Bard is really delayed, and Ezreal might be afraid that we are sitting in this bush right here. So he is, at the moment, just hugging his tower. So what you can do at this point, when the enemy bot lane, you know they won't walk up to the wave, is you can run out a bit faster, fast enough so you can be here when these minions are dying. Because what you can accomplish now is you can actually since you're stronger 2v2, they will have to run under a tower, which means you will get the EXP of these minions, even if you don't get last hit, but they will not get nor the gold nor the EXP. And this is gonna create a huge lead early in the game because their level 2 will be greatly delayed. So in this lane, if they hadn't face checked level 1, they were both here and here, we would have gotten a kill. And if they are respecting, then we can take a fight here because we're so much stronger and zone them from these minions. But in this case, I fucked up because I left the bush too late. So I do think that I actually end up losing some of these minions here, if I remember correctly. Let's see. See, he can only run, and I only got 1 EXP. But here, you should be able to get all the EXP of the minions while the enemy gets zoned. And that is the worst case scenario. That is the worst case for you. The best case for you is you get a kill. Another scenario, we are playing double ranged Ezreal Karma versus Ashe Thresh. Now, their level 1 is not so weak, right? Now we need to respect a little bit more. What Karma does is she wards the middle bush level 1. This is really good. In any matchup that it's not very clear who wins level 1 and who doesn't, this ward is really helpful for helping you obtain that level 1 push. So if the level 1 is contested, meaning both sides are pretty good level 1, so, you know, the level 1 can go both ways, it's really good to have this lane ward because it allows you to not get fucked, you know? So it's good to place this ward level 1, base, get sweeper. Let's see how it played. So now we know this bush is clear, right? We don't want to face check them because we could potentially get all in. We also know they don't have a ward because if Karma sprints here level 1, wards instantly, you will know whether they have warded or not. Because if they had warded, you would have seen them ward at the same time. So now we know they are not there. Okay, we do this face check. Maybe a little bit risky, but they will have to focus Karma. And if they focus Karma level 1 and I'm playing Ezreal, I can actually clean up pretty easily. Like, we are not weak level 1 as well. So what do you see we accomplish here with Karma Ezreal, which is really important every time we play Karma Ezreal, or most of the times any double range bot, is to obtain level 1 position. And why level 1 position is crucial here, so I'm still respecting because I know they could potentially be here and I could get hooked or something, you know? So I'm paying respect to that scenario. Right now, I'm also thinking, oh shit, what if they had late invaded from mid lane, which is a viable strategy. People can do that, especially against Ezreal Karma, can be viable. So what I'm going to do is ping missing because they could potentially be here and stand behind. Because if you get map split on, sometimes the enemy team, the enemy bot side can grab red buff. They see that you are pushed up way too far in your wave. If I'm here and Karma is here, they can see that and they can run from behind and just redeem 2 quick free kills. So right now, I don't know whether they're just AFK or actually late invading. So I ping my Karma to stand here to spot whether they'll be running from behind so I can get some last hits. That's why I pinged Karma right now to stand here, and he will understand, I think. And now we see Ashe here, still a bit suspicious because they're 10 seconds late to the wave. But essentially, me being positioned here and Karma being positioned here is that if they actually were to come from here, I can throw a spell on them and run back. Karma can throw a spell on them and run back, you know? So we are still very safe. So now they still could have late invaded, but they chose very safe path. So I am right now not really pressuring, and I'm trying to wait to get a confirmation on the enemy jungler, which I think we will get soon. So in the case that they didn't map split, we already had position in lane. Let me just go back real quick. In the case where they haven't map split, they would have to walk with the wave, right? If they're walking and hugging this side of the wave, I can hit them with a skill shot. If they're hugging this side of the wave, Karma can hit a skill shot. And in this position, we already pretty much have a level 2 first guaranteed if you play well. So this is another thing in a slightly different game, slightly different example. Another example is this time with a melee support, right? Both sides are pretty strong level 1. We did see Braum appear on mid-wave. That's why we're jumping in right now. See, if I was a bit faster, or if LW landed, Corki, again, we get an advantage. This time the trigger was Braum appearing on mid lane, which wasn't seen in the video, but he was there. So, sorry about that. Now, look, I know he's gonna run around, so I'm gonna walk up a little bit, try and get a Q, which is chunk and mana flow, you know, and then run back, which is what I do. Now we get lane position. Again, lane position is already favorable for us to race for level 2. My champion being pretty strong level 1, but they're also not to be underestimated because they have Braum, right? So also pretty strong level 1. So I'm gonna start up by stacking up some passive. See, I'm pushing. Both sides are pushing because both sides want to get level 2 if they can. Ezreal is really strong at this, by the way. Like, Ezreal is really strong if you play like this. If you play to win your lane by perma-queuing, perma-getting Q passive, and when you have passive stacked up, you just all in. So as you can see, both sides are racing. Corki uses Q on the wave, which is, you know, if he uses a spell on the wave to clear, that signals to us we can instantly all in because they lack a spell. But Realm is W, so we just retrieve. But already at this point, I know that I'm getting level 2 first. And here, Corki decides to trade into me when I have 5 passive stacks up and Conqueror stacked. So here, I'm like, this is so trolled by them, we can fight, right? So I'm gonna extend this fight. Can just walk up 1v2, Corki has no spell. Rel flash W's the wrong target. That can sometimes happen. But I still end up getting first blood and Corki flashes. So I save my flash, I get first blood, I get a tier. But this is, you know, this is an example of just how a different level 1 could go. So one thing that the people ask me a lot in my streams is how do you play into Mage's bot? And I'm gonna quickly touch on this subject as well. So while Mage's bot are usually pretty annoying to play against because by default, by design, they counter AD carries, there are a few things that you can do. And the best thing you can do is try and outfarm the said mage. So the mages usually are weak in all-ins, right? Early game at least, and they are really bad at last hitting Ender Tower. And this is the two things that we want to capitalize on. And I will show this from my POV because the enemy Jinx actually plays this well. So they keep the wave. On the first wave, they don't do a lot. They just want to keep the wave in the middle, so we're looking for some favorable trades, you know. And now look at what they do. They race for level 2. At this point, we know that since it's Jinx, she outpushes me, they're gonna get level 2 first. So I'm gonna start retreating. Now I'm zoned, Thresh has hook, I don't wanna get hooked. And now they slow push as much as possible. So I am zoned from the wave, essentially, right? So they're capitalizing on the fact that I'm weak in an all-in, can't fight, push slow. And now they're about to capitalize on the fact that I'm bad at last hitting Ender Tower. So now, you see, this wave arrives, and since this is a save wave state for me, like I'm safe to chill here and last hit, what they want to do, and what you want to do playing against the mage, you want to hard push this, so the next wave that comes in, plus this wave goes into tower, and I have a hard time last hitting it. Let's see. They hard push the wave, and now this is exactly what, you know, sucks for you. So they hard push the wave, now it's hard for me to be last hitting, and now, you see, like, what did they do with their slow push? What did they do? Thresh could be going mid lane to influence this, Jinx could be taking a base, or they both could be cheesing in this bush when I try to push out the next wave, and we could eventually get ganked on the slow push. So, even though it could have gone worse, this is like the things that you want to do against mages to capitalize and get an advantage in the farm department. So another concept that I want to talk about is playing the line, as some call it, you know? Like, see how, imagine there's a line between us like this, you know? Essentially what the line means is that we are both doing the same thing at the same time. And that means, if my support clicks forward, I click forward. If my support runs backwards, I run backwards, you know? So let's see. See how I'm running forward as my support is running forward. And now enemy Soraka breaks the line and she runs into essentially both of us because now we are both in range to attack him. And the enemy, Ashe, is, you know, is here. So we can both go on the Soraka first. And this is why we're going to now get a favorable trade. So let's see. See, it's a pretty good trade already. Now they are playing the line, we are playing the line, you know? And we are both trying to go on the enemy AD carry, but they can also both go on me at the same time. So now it's going to be a little bit more close, the trade. Okay. See, they have Ashe, so she's pretty strong level 1. But at this whole time, like, both sides are just trying to do the same thing while not allowing the enemy support to engage on them. So I'm trying to turn on this guy with my guy, and they're also trying to go on me like this, you know? So let's see. And eventually we get a kill, because my trash gets the ability to flash on him because he's in the flash range, but they also trade kill on me. And why this was possible is because both sides were essentially playing together. Like, both me and my support were hitting the enemy AD carry, while both enemy AD carry and enemy support were hitting me. So this is an example of how both sides played, you know, somewhat together. So another concept that I want to quickly touch upon is how you actually increase your chances of dodging hooks the most. So we see Trash charging a hook, right? What you want to imagine in your mind every time there's a hook champion is a line in between you and them, and then a vertical line on where your champion is standing. So in this case, it is like this, a vertical line, right? Now, the clicks that you want to do to dodge this hook is anywhere on this line. Let me change the color. So you want to be clicking here or here. And why that is because if you're making these clicks, your champion will clear this line the fastest by going in this vertical plane. If you click here, or if you click here, or here, or here, or anywhere that is not in this vertical line, you are actually not clearing you from the direct line the fastest. So let's see. Lulu did that. Good job, Lulu. Alright, so another concept that I want to explain to you is faking something, right? So in bot lane, the fake that I do the most times is, as you can see, we just kill the enemy support. I have gold, and I'm low on HP, so it's reasonable for the enemy bot laner to think that I want to base. And what I'm going to do to this guy is I'm going to show him that I am leaving here from his vision. He will see me going here. So he's gonna think that I'm probably basing here. But what I will actually do is, in no vision, I will go into this bush, do the fake into bush combo, right? And this would have worked if my support didn't end. So let's see. See, now I ping to go into the bush. And many people will fall for this because they are playing on autopilot and they assume if you go there, that means that you can't be in this bush. And my support leaves because he sees the Rengar is in river. But what we would do if there was no Rengar in the river, I would just wait here. And when this guy walks up here for the next wave, my trash will just hex flash out of the bush on him and we will get his flash or we will kill him. So this is another concept that you can look to utilize. Sometimes people in high elo do this on mid waves too. Like this Talon can fake on enemy vision going into top side, and then he can make a loop around and go into bot side. And Galio will be pinging that Talon is top, and he will not think that Talon goes bot, you know? Same concept on the fake thing. You can also fake dive. What I mean by that is, look, we are all running into bot side. We're going to be diving bot lane. The enemy AD carry sees his support mid lane, so he should be afraid of getting dove here, right? And what you want to do is, look at me, I stay outside of the vision, I don't show myself on the tower. So what the enemy AD carry sees is a lone wave going into the tower. So he might think, oh, they're not diving me. And then he walks up for this wave. While as, if I was in front of this wave, he's like, oh, why is he walking up like that? I'm getting dove, I'm gonna back off. See? Now it's like I'm fishing and I just pulled the bait out. And look, he's not on the wave. So he respects. But this is something that increases your chances of being able to dive him. And you don't lose anything by doing it. So it's another thing that you can use. Another thing that I want to talk about is don't be afraid to swap your lanes. For example, if you're AD carry, like me this game, and you're pretty fed, like right now, If I lane swap into the Galio, he cannot play into me, right? So I should be right-clicking mid lane right now and just swapping into Galio, because there is no way he can do anything against me. Because he's a melee champ and he has a Merc threats against the Fed AD carry with lethality, right? So don't be afraid to lane swap. Most of the times, if you lane swap to mid lane at around 11 to 12 minutes early in the game when you can, it's going to be pretty good, because you're safe on mid lane, you can contest both objectives easily, and it's just good to do whether you're behind or ahead, because if you're behind, you can't get exploited on mid lane, and if you're ahead, you can exploit the enemy map when you're mid lane. The only time I would not go mid lane with an AD carry when I'm fed is if I'm playing like Caitlyn and I want to pound on tower, but the enemy mid lane is a mage that can just wave clear. So in that case, I would rather probably just swap to top lane. But again, it depends on who the enemy top laner is and what items he has. You know, if it's an 2 kills Ornn with Sunfire, I might not, for example. Alright, that is the end of this video. Please let me know in the comments what you thought of it. Honestly, I just had a bunch of free time, so I was like, fuck it, might as well, you know, like, maybe someone will get value from it, so that would make me happy if that's the case. And let me know if I should make a second part, if I should continue this, anything really. And also, if you like the type of content that I bring, do check out my Twitch stream as well. Sometimes I go live, so see you there.